Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a series so huge, I couldn't help but say it all. Ooh. But its hugeness is mostly... Hey, what are you doing over there? Oh, I was just writing my preemptive counter-argument about how you're wrong about my favorite game of all time and the best game ever. Oh, okay. Well, don't you think that's a little, I don't know, close-minded? I mean, I get you probably liked these games as a kid, but isn't it time we looked at them critically and made a fair analysis of how... No! Okay, ask anybody about Fnaf. Anyone can tell you what makes a Fnaf game a Fnaf game, and what a game needs to be a Fnaf game. But is that description you get really what describes a Fnaf game at its core? Is it possible that following this formula might actually be missing the entire point about what makes Fnaf awesome, or even what makes a sequel awesome? I mean, Fnaf's a game where you watch some fucking cans for some bears or whatever. Here's some pizza and cupcakes. Stay 5 nights, you win! In Fnaf, you were a security guard. And well, seriously, that much wasn't even explained. You're just Mike, dude. Walk into the office, phone guy goes, here, do this. You're like, okay, there's a rabbit. You watch the rabbit and chicken that walk around and shit, and you have a great time doing it. You figure, if there's cans with animatronics on them, then I better keep watching them. Maybe there's more. I don't know. Seems neat. Well, that's Fnaf. And whether or not Fnaf is what it is now, that's how it started. And that's what sold a bazillion games. A trillion million games. Look at how many games there are. And then, Adventures of Auntie came out, whatever, I don't care. And then, Fnaf 4. It was like the definitive Fnaf, right? It felt like the first Fnaf, but it was so much scarier. Bigger bear. More things going on, it was nuts! My 15-year-old mind couldn't take it. Was I 15? Well, I don't remember. But still, it changed a lot of things. This kid, cries a lot, was given a name and a purpose. Give gifts, give life. This is a kid. I don't know what his name is. He does. Was that the bite of 80s? In Fnaf 4, you start in a house. You're forced to survive. Sneak around halls, play with Plushtrap, rescue a princess, and bring her through an underground tunnel to some church or whatever, so you can finally have your lore to enjoy. Okay, cool. But okay, you want me to walk around this room? Okay, then what? Get scared by my brother? Okay, so tomorrow's another day? Okay, so Deltarune roleplay? Okay, you want me to open this box? Okay. Listen? Not your fucking servant? Why do you give me this world to explore and survive in, and then you tell me to do these super specific things? You don't throw a 6-year-old into a sandbox and say, hey, you can only make poopy castles. You know when you take wet sand and you just let it drip on top of a pile of sand? It's a poopy castle. I mean, exploration still exists in Fnaf 4, and God knows it's required to understand it. But if a game is telling you to do specific things with static set pieces and a sequence of which things to do and specific instructions, you're not discovering a world. You're being taken on a tour. You're no longer a Pioneer Phasminer. You're a guest at Disneyland. Here's your ticket. Be sure to check out Space Mountain Indiana Jones before you leave. Guess Goofy's weight. Win a prize! 120 pounds? No. It's too low. The whole game, it feels a bit more processed. Feels a bit more planned. You have a mission, and the mission is laid out for you. And that kind of thing is fine. I mean, I go to Disneyland like 6 times a year. I fucking love the Blue Bayou restaurant. They got great food. Whoa! It's a little pricey. But you know what? It's worth it. But Fnaf at its roots, it's not the kind of game that spells it out for you. There's no explanation or even really like a goal, but there's mystery everywhere. And you can approach it from any angle you want. Whether you're prepared or not, you run the real risk of facing off against something that will kill you in a fucking second. It's fucking awesome! But if you look at Fnaf 1 and Fnaf 4 at a surface level, they seem the same. There's a bunch of robots to avoid. Lights, phones, bears, oh my. With jump scares and a mysterious yellow creature, there's a big building with doors and cameras. But it's not the same. There's a shift in soul, a difference in how you perceive and experience the world. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't fucking know. But it's not the same. Oh my god, look at that. The clouds are parting, and the heavens are sending us a message from above. Our eyes squint and adjust to the heavenly glow when we finally can understand what it says. Hey, there's a 3D Fnaf coming out. Oh my god. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. It's a game considered by most to be a masterpiece. A 3D world with delicious sound and amazing graphics. At the time, each dungeon and each town feels unique and has its own energy to it. We were all fucking floored. It was so epic. This is what it felt like gaming was leading up to. It felt like a natural progression. It felt like witnessing a fish grow legs. But not that one. It's really gross. So now, we have this 3D world. And it felt like that was what made the difference. But what exactly was different? Well, in order to examine that, we have to examine the dreaded transition from the second dimension to the third dimension. If we've learned anything from Sonic the Hedgehog over here, it's that turning a 2D game into a 3D game, it ain't easy. It ain't even fucking quantifiable. How do you take the simplicity of form that 2D allows and give it a Z-axis? Everything changes. And it seems to turn a really good game design into a completely fucking broken one. Oh god. Oh my god. Timmy, don't look. Did you look at that? Don't look at it! I mean, but FNAF, that one's not too hard. It already technically has 3 dimensions. You got the y-axis, the x-axis, but you know, you can move forward and back. You had a sense of depth, but that's where the differences start. See, FNAF 4 had a selective z-axis. For example, you couldn't be on the bed and open the closet door, but if you were on the bed and Foxy poked through the door, he could still kill you. Plush Trap moves towards you, but only in convenient increments. That shit's asinine in 3D, which ironically, in this situation, is a limitation of the medium. The more specific you get about situations analogous to reality, the more you have to stipulate on. You can't affect an animatronic from any z-axis position distance. Now it's really clear where the animatronics are in 3D space. They're up, down, every fucking where, and aiming your flashlight would be really dumb. Hey. I see you there, Lumen. Dude, man, sorry, I'm just curious. So what do we gotta do to remedy this z-axis problem? Well, ladies and gents, I present to you Free Roam. Pesky animatronics from every which way, trying to circle around Vanny without losing track of where she is relative to you. Have I got a treat for you? Just tilt the analog stick and you'll spin around the nearest baddie and have a go with your mighty light shining device. Check it out. Free Roam made surviving complicated. And that's not a bad thing. No more simple point and click stuff here, folks. You gotta lock on, focus on the encounter. This is a gigantic difference, and it makes exploring complex. And I don't say this a lot. Let's see how this is a good thing. A new method of movement means new ways to go about designing enemies and survival situations. You used to just point and click, hit and run. But now, there's rolling, running, jumping, swinging, leaping. Holy shit, so complex. So many possibilities. It's so deep, they could have made an entire game based on this movement system. But guess what they didn't? Here's how this is a poopy bad thing. Free roam creates a strange disconnect from the world around you. It changes the camera angle from what you're used to exploring the world in, and that shifts your entire focus and outlook. It segments the game into 2 pieces. This is the walking piece, this is the scary piece. They don't mix. Put them in a room together, they get into an argument. Hey, fuck you. Fuck you too. Dude, guys, can't we just get along?
What do you think this is, FNAF World?
Ha! Like the man says, in the old FNAF games, those 2 pieces were linked. There were segments where you had to fight off enemies and explore the room simultaneously. It was much easier to manage it all, and now it's complicated and puts you in unfair situations. Free roam also puts a damper on smaller elements like newspaper clippings, who were fun to discover in FNAF 1, but are now just overt and uninteresting because you can just plant in place and individually focus on each one. It'd be like if you wanted to kill a bunch of ants in your house by stomping on them, but the ants only move during certain scenarios, leaving you infinite time to dispose of them at your leisure. Now, okay, on the flip side, complicated enemies are a total joy to engage with, but the issue then comes up of how they're even designed. Okay. So as I mentioned before, a lot of the charm of the original FNAF is how ruthless the game was, and a complex exploration system would be the perfect place to implement that. But the source of a lot of Security Breach's problems is that the game's idea of difficulty is waiting. There is so much goddamn waiting in Security Breach. Every enemy has a period where they just stand around and do fucking nothing, and moving away from them during this time is useless. Freddy, Vanny, Roxanne, Moonman, Monty, Malhare, Chica, Glitch Trap? Waiting is not a difficult thing to do, but it creates the illusion of difficulty because it takes up your time. And that's all it does. An encounter feels like an ordeal when you have to devote a decent amount of time to it, but it's not hard. Just look at Final Fantasy IX, Skies of Arcadia, Grandia, these long ass battles. Not hard, but they feel like there's something. This is a mindless interaction, and you're simply going through the motions instead of strategizing. Wait, move. Wait, move. Wait, move. It's not a very hard thing to do, and it's difficult to mess up. This style of enemy isn't inherently bad. I mean, it creates an interesting player-enemy relationship where the enemy's controlling the pace of the battle, but the fact that it's a consistent theme in enemies gives the impression that it's used as a horror supplement, since none of these enemies are actually difficult to evade. Now, on the flip side, Security Breach has the coolest enemy ever, the Iron Bear. It's an enemy that is actually provoked to attack and also be vulnerable by your own attack, which makes the pace of the encounter completely dictated by you and your ability to fight it. Additionally, the nature of his attack pattern requires you to be aware of your surroundings. You can lure him to areas by moving, and the environment rewards you for doing so, which is another layer of depth in the battle. This is the kind of enemy design Security Breach needed so much more of, a merging of exploration and horror, where you're still very aware of your surroundings in each set piece, even during an encounter, and the world around you affects your movement. I feel that this particular encounter shows how Security Breach could have had an even better exploration horror connection than FNAF 4, or even the original FNAF, but chose to save it only for mini-bosses and some boss battles. Could have been every enemy. In any case, the nature of free roam forced FNAF to be more movement-centric, and with it, the world was forced to change. But it didn't. You still watch cameras, only now you can't watch them when you're engaged with an animatronic, and you still open doors by pushing buttons on the wall. Is that a puzzle? Like seriously, is that a puzzle? Is looking around the room and finding a button on a wall really super scary for people? Like, the game is 3D now, so everything isn't laid out before you like a map anymore, so I get that there's this sense that you walk into a room and aren't getting all the information about the room right away. But is stopping your forward motion, stopping everything, to look for a button to whack that's in a soulless crevice in a wall so you can open a door that leads to another room with another locked door and some other silly open sesame trick? Is that scary? Is this what you want?
Hey, come on, man. It's not that bad.
Shh, sister location. Seriously, I'm doing like a show.
I know. I just figured I'd give my 2 cents.
I don't care. Nobody likes you. You took fun and made it unfun. How'd you even do that? Maybe I should go crawl for a better game, huh?
Hey, man. That's low.
So is my interest in playing you again. Oh, shit. Burn! Burn! Sorry, I'm just really proud of what I've done today. Plus, I really hate you. Alright, let me explain something. A puzzle is something you have all the information for. The only thing standing between you and the solution is your own ability to put the pieces together in the right way. The satisfaction you obtain from solving a puzzle is from the aha moment, when the pieces fit and you have only yourself to blame for it. If you're missing a piece, how are you even supposed to get to a conclusion? You rack your brain, run in circles, you go, what do I fucking do? Until you find the last piece on a whim, and suddenly it all makes sense. You say, well shit, or come on. The satisfaction doesn't come from the door opening. It comes from the puzzle itself. If the puzzle itself isn't satisfying, well there you go. The puzzle itself isn't satisfying. You see, in the original FNAF, you're stuck in one room and the doors would lock, but 4 robot animal dude looking guys who are fucking hard as shit surround you. They follow you around. When they see you, you can only block them from the sides. You gotta strategize, ins, outs, manage your power. Block them when they gang up. It's daunting. It's interesting. It engages you. And it's really easy to understand. And because of all this, it's satisfying when you beat them. A night passing is like, oh cool, the next day. You're not like, oh fucking finally, the alarm. But look, that's not to say puzzles or whatever can't exist in Security Breach's movement-centric universe. But sliding spike death men coming out from around the corner you can't see is just bad fucking design. It's bad design in any game. It's no different in FNAF. You don't get a get out of jail free card. You gotta roll 3 times! In the first FNAF, you see that shit. In FNAF 4, you see that shit. In Security Breach, oops! Yeah, I know. That's the nature of 3D. But if it doesn't work in 3D, you change it. If the formula doesn't work, you change the formula. Why do I gotta leap across these platforms? There's no challenge here. I hold the joystick up. Just because the scenario's treacherous doesn't mean the game is actually treacherous. I could have just walked forward in a straight line. Heck, I could close my eyes here and do this. Is that scary? Can I just close my eyes and shoot at terrorist insurgents and be like, oh, I'm fucking fine? Hey, or better yet, how about some nice interesting survival scenario here on these platforms, huh? Like some kind of enemy that'll circle around you. And you just gotta time your jump across, or like, block his path with a flashlight stun, or like, how about an enemy you have to keep contained to prevent it from attacking, but while you deal with him, another enemy slowly closes in on you, like another well-designed scenario in some other fucking game. I just made that up. I didn't even, and it exists, in a good FNAF game.
Oh man, enemies in a good FNAF game? Are you talking about me?
No, I'm not talking about you. Get out of my house. Go on. I can't be too hard on Sister Location. It at least made the narrative bearable to listen to. You listen to a Republican with a voice filter in FNAF 1. Hello, it's me. In Security Breach, you have infinity voice lines. You also have a really vague idea of who's saying what, especially if you're just listening and passing. There's so much room for error, it's fucking unreal. Free roam helps, but what if there are enemies around you that you don't want to run into? You just want to see straight. You just want to walk and listen. Sister Location added like a continuity, but it also added Circus Baby. Circus baby. But it also added circus baby. Yeah, okay, Fox Sister Location. It still handles characters dumb. But to be fair, Security Breach didn't fix it. You know, okay. In each area, Security Breach has a unique item in a regular old treasure chest. In each segment, it just kind of shows up after a random encounter with some animatronics. FNAF 4 had a giant fucking treasure chest that needed a big key to open. The big key also opened the door to the boss. There's like a genuine giddiness to finding a treasure with such a huge implication to it. The big key not only gives me an amazing new treasure, but it also allows me to face off against an incredible boss. The time it takes me to get back to the big treasure is like the most fucking suspenseful thing ever. It's like running down the stairs to get the presents under the Christmas tree, or the menorah, or like whatever, birthday tree. I often hear that this is a minor point, but it creates an emotional through line for a game. It establishes an important, consistent relationship with the player and the game. It creates goals. Creates expectations.
It creates a good fucking game.
A treasure chest in and of itself is a mystery and a sense of suspense. The original FNAF didn't have chests, it just had like new items sitting at the end of like a long hallway that built up tension. It gave you time to wonder about what it was and what it meant. FNAF 4 added chests, which was another means to the same goal, you know, building suspense. It's a fucking secret box. You see a present and you're like,
Oh god, I want to open it.
simply walking to the chest is all the suspense you need. When you arrive, the payoff is instant. It opens up right away when you hit the button. It shows what it is. Done. I know, it may not appear epic, and it may seem kind of silly and video gamey, but the feeling of suspense is real and very valid. Security breach decided to add in bullshit. Gregory opens up the treasure chest all like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Oh my god, I'm amazed. Who cares that he's amazed? I want to be amazed. Just show the fucking treasure already. I beat the dudes blocking it. I climbed the ladder or whatever and got here. Why do I gotta wait? Just because the game needs to be all epic and 3D whooshy whooshy because of all the graphics and polygons and whatnot, I gotta wait like, look at how many chests I could open in that time. God, there's so much waiting in Security Breach. You gotta wait for a door to close. You gotta wait for a character to stop talking. You gotta wait for the dialogue box to tell you how to use a flashlight for the 47th goddamn time. Wait for the switch to make a music tone and open a door across the room. Wait for Vanessa to go flying backwards and get up off the ground. Wait for bombs to blow up. How fucking long does it take to switch between rooms? You gotta find the security cam, say yes, watch the cutscene, walk up to the security office door, watch the cutscene, walk out of the security office, do whatever thing that brings you closer to where you want to go, say yes, watch the cutscene, and walk all the way to where you want to be. In FNAF, you open the computer, press a button, and you're there. What the fuck am I doing with my life? I am harshly criticizing Security Breach on the internet. I'm gonna get crucified! Waiting is the bane of fear. Why would I be scared in a world where I gotta waste useless time just to check a fucking room? You should never, ever, ever hit that point where you're like, I'll check that room later. In a game about checking rooms. I mean, you're exploring a world, right? And then they decide, hey, we're gonna streamline the horror process. Guess what? You enter a room. Halfway through, you get an item that helps you through the other half of the area. And then you use that item on the boss to render it vulnerable. And then you dismantle it with a wrench, typically in a pattern of 3 times. But that part can vary. Ladies and gentlemen, please exit through the gift shop, try our bear-shaped ice cream bars. Can you please tell me what about this world is interesting if I know, before I even finish the encounter, what the boss battle's gonna be? Oh, I got a slingshot. Maybe I hit some big glowing object with the slingshot. Oh, a taser that lets me zap at stuff. Maybe the boss is gonna be a dude that I gotta zap at. Look, I know that you could argue that this is actually good game design, but a game where I'm surviving and I'm supposed to be scared about what's to come, it's kinda hard to wonder teary-eyed about something that's so predictable, it hurts. Ooh, darn. Oh, geez, arg. And this like streamlining process in Security Breach is present even outside the exploration. Every little piece of this game is just hopping over some roadblock. I need you to do some specific thing to make it to the next roadblock. It's a game about jumping through hoops. Superman 64. Hey man, there's a closed door. Find the bear symbol, hit it with a slingshot. Another closed door. Find a key, another closed door. Press a button, another closed door. Give this dude a letter from Scott. And again, look, there's some exploring, but a random secret vent on the ground isn't gonna lead you through some complex catacomb with a mini boss at the end. It just won't. It's not gonna happen. You'll fall, you'll get a treasure chest, it goes da 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 da, and fucking leave. They would not sacrifice their precious formula for a little bit of fun. FNAF World had a little bit more variety. Sometimes the secret you find in an area isn't even relevant. Sometimes the boss can be defeated with just the fucking sword. Sometimes the boss needs to be defeated with an item from a dungeon 2 worlds ago. There's one boss you have to beat him with an item that you don't even get in a dungeon. It still felt like an adventure. Like you had this like arsenal that you've been collecting, and you're using it whenever it may be useful. And it may be useful at any time. You gotta be ready for that shit. The original FNAF had some robots. There's a robot? Just look at that. Look at that robot. There's a fucking robot over there. It's this kind of misdirection of like what you should care about in FNAF that really bugs me about Security Breach. Like, let's take the story, for example. Security Breach's story provides you with a context for your situation, that accomplishing this will save this or change this, but it refuses to acknowledge the player's innate sense of fear and drive to survive and fight. Players want to fight bosses, they want to be rewarded for their efforts, they want to enter a room and see what's inside, and succeed against enemies. But you gotta go put that feeling aside. There are more important matters at hand. Glitch trap, or malware, or whatever. Stop the malware. Vanny is possessed by a computer virus, that's why you got a quest. Vanny's gotta eat. The fuck are computers? I don't even care! And then what we're left with is what feels like a formality. Rooms with doors that need to be opened, bosses that are beaten in the same fucking manner every time. I think the idea that you're told you're a kid escaping a building is at least somewhat unnecessary. When it's an order delivered by the game, it becomes a task. It's like a job. The message should be in that, As a player, the idea of fun ends up making you a hero. Escaping monsters is what you live for, and isn't what, say, this fucking guy lives for. Why aren't all these dudes going out and saving the facility? Because they're not heroes. They don't find it fun. But you, the player, find it fun. You find avoiding monsters fun. You find ridding the world of evil things fun. That makes you a hero. Not the dialogue, not the story. A book can tell you the main character is a hero with dialogue. A movie can too. But in a game you can feel it. You can experience it firsthand. You don't need dialogue. Why was the inclusion of so many semantics necessary? And I don't buy the argument that they're only there to richen the world with story, because adding those contexts to the situation is devaluing design aspects. The game literally stops for you to complete some asinine story task. Look, you go to the Pizzaplex. You go to the entrance of the back area. Dude won't let you pass. You go, what the fuck, man? I want to go up there. That's what I want to do. But no, you have to wait for the game to tell you why you want to go up there. You know why you want to go up there. You want to fight some dudes, fight a boss, find a cool secret. But no, you gotta go talk to Freddy. Oh, fucking the world. And then Vanessa's like,
Hey, you know, this is really important, so I'm gonna give you this note to give to this guy.
I don't care. Nobody cares. You seriously just made me waste my time and press A bunch of times so I could go up there. There's like a fucking tiny wall standing between me. I could climb over it. I'm an agile kid. I could climb the shit out of that. I climb vines all the time. No big deal. Purposely misinforming the player about why they should care about what you're doing displaces their values, and it creates a you can't tell me what to do attitude towards the game. And that's the last thing you want a game to do. You don't want a game to nag at you, especially in a game with an open world. Just look at how many people hate the phone people. All they do is nag and tell you what to do. Who the fuck wants to be told what to do? Am I in a cubicle? Am I sitting in a cubicle playing a FNAF game? No. See, this is why I think the flashlight is brilliant, particularly in FNAF 4, because it's talked about in literal terms. It's an item that will make you more powerful and stun animatronics. That's what it actually does for you, the player. There's no bullshit about avenging your mother or saving a village from persecution or giving Roxanne rocks. There's rocks everywhere! What is wrong with you? Your whole area is made of rocks and you're starving? The flashlight is just the sword of evil's bane. Fucking awesome. How exciting is that? A new awesome item. Count me the fuck in. And don't get me wrong, I don't think a world where people walk and talk is flawed, but having to trigger the ability to explore by walking and talking is annoying. It's like your mom. You can't have dessert until you eat your peas. Can't explore the area till you run from a robot. There are ways to involve characters in a story and not have them be utterly boring and detached from what you're doing. Why not have an animatronic that helps you survive? Goes poof, blows shit up while you're doing stuff. Why not have an animatronic stay healthy by eating batteries? And they're slowly becoming rarer as you progress through the area. And he's on the verge of fatigue. Shit! Don't you want to get him some batteries to stay the hell alive? Let's keep moving so my friend can live. See, I'm a video game player. I care about slashing things, finding things, having an adventure. Not wandering around until I've pressed A at all the right places in the right order for whatever fucking story reason. It's like the longest page turn ever. Imagine you had to walk across your house back and forth 3 times before you could turn the page in the book you're reading. Gosh, isn't that stupid? Wouldn't that be really dumb? That's what you're fucking doing in video games. Things just need to be simple. And what I mean by that is, FNAF 4 added a story to make everything a little more epic. And since it was the same kind of game as the first, the game needed those tropes to come back. All those enemies and elements, while adding new ones too. But with that, a formula was born. A through line is important for a series, but when it acts like a katamari of tropes and elements that can't be forgotten or changed, things start to get sloppy and samey. We get games that become less and less interesting. Scott Cawthon once described his idea for FNAF coming from the feeling he got from wanting to explore restaurants near his house as a child, which led to an amazing game where you explore restaurants and found dangerous things. The irony is that when it came time to make sequels, Scott cared more about the things that were found rather than the mystery itself. There is no mystery in modern FNAF games.
Hey man, I'm mysterious.
God, shut up! Seriously. You want all this attention like you care, like you really gave it your all in the new innovative FNAF experience. But instead, you led FNAF into a frustrating monotony. You know, what started the franchise was like the sense of being trapped. And what has thus far concluded the franchise is a sense of formality, a predictable time-consuming mess that asks you not of your sense of survival or even your wit, but instead your ability to listen and follow directions. You ask of us our ability to point something at something else and then walk towards it. You ask of us our willingness to stay another night, avoid another robot with a giant glowing eyeball. Gee! I wonder how to fucking beat it. I fucking wonder, sister location. You ask of us to get a baby from the top of a roof and carry her over to some guy who says thank you. The Adventures of Mike, Baby Delivery Man. Is that your title? What's the tagline in the ads? Babies Day Out and onto the roof. 10 out of 10. No Wiimote motion issues here that could possibly cripple the entire experience. best in the series. You're like a spoiled rich kid who gets everything bought for you your entire life, and then when it comes to making it out on your own, you can't take it. You expect everyone to love you because you are who you are, part of the illustrious Fnaf lineage. Nothing could possibly be wrong with you. You look just like a Fnaf, but you're not one. You're a pampered, doughy snob wearing nice clothes, expecting to graduate scot-free because your daddy's an alum. Why would you need to improve? Why would you need to get any better? Everybody just agrees with your shitty ideas because you're a Fnaf. Fuck you, sister location. Fuck you. Oh my god. Now, as I spent 373,000 years writing this freaking video, a new FNAF game showed up that made everyone pee their pants. You know, except me, because I don't do that. It's weird. It was a direct sequel to FNAF 4, taking place in the same aesthetic world of FNAF 4. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's Special Delivery, and I love it. Alright, look, it's worth mentioning that it does have nearly an entire formula ripped from a game, but it's fun. But why? Well, I feel partly because it has less wait time, but it's mostly because of the new mechanic, which is beautifully integrated to the point of feeling second nature, like jumping in a Mario game. On top of that, you have nooks and crannies around every turn that contain weird hidden stuff. And there's also this system of pay for a skin that adds this interesting value to money that no other FNAF had. Not even Pizza Sim with its stupid weird fucking dumbass endgame magic not magic arcade bullshit. Wow, look at that. Sure is expensive to die. Is what we're seeing a commentary on capitalist society and life insurance policies choking the life out of middle America? Okay. What's more, nearly every item in Special Delivery has multiple uses outside from its, intended real world use, and has such a broad feel that they can all be upgraded to be even more useful. While it does eliminate the mystique of finding an item, it allows each dungeon to have a spoil that feels less like it's in tandem with the dungeon. Like it's a treasure that you can enjoy as a general adventurer. Not just as a house guest of fucking Mr. Vulnerable for a second glowy eyeball McWeak the shocks. Why did I leave my one weakness laying around my house? Oh no, jeez man, that's my glowy eye. I use that to see? So, I think what I've been discussing this whole video doesn't seem like it applies much to this game at first glance, but it absolutely does. This game decided to switch up the FNAF formula from a different angle. And while it doesn't eliminate the FNAF staple items and constant reuse of existing enemies, it does something different in how you interact with all of them, and that something different works. It changed how you explore the world itself, how you find things, and how you figure out things about the world around you. A stupid spinning dumbass chicken thing doesn't change anything. You find a camera on a wall and then you watch. It's like a teleporter, but instead of being transported instantly, you just get to look at it. A double dumbass button doesn't change anything. It just means instead of having to open and close the camera once you awkwardly find a target, you don't have to close the cams when you awkwardly find another animatronic target. Thank God. But this shit? It changes how you view reality, its relationship to one another, how you view distance, how you view the differences between life and a video game. It feels like you're exploring a world again, and the things that you find are less important than the way that you find them. It's back to how it felt before. The reward was the fact that you did it, not that you found a secret. And you know what? I think this may be Illumix's way of easing people into being open-minded about a shift in FNAF. I mean, look at this shit. What? Fury's Rage? What the fuck does that even mean? Look, what? What is going on? Holy crap. Oh my god, this big thing. Jeez, what? How could they ruin FNAF? How could they ruin my favorite video game? I'm sure it's good.